Hey guys, welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be reacting to Kelsey Grennan. And for those who don't know me, my name is Jonathan. I'm a dietitian that supports people who are struggling with binge eating. And this video is very fitting because Kelsey Grennan is an amazing person who I found on social media, Instagram, TikTok, who's very body positive. And she's very honest, very brave, sharing her binge eating recovery journey. More on like what I eat in a day videos of someone who's struggling with binge eating, because it's a wild west out there on social media, and she gets tons of, from what I've heard, terrible comments about people trying to say terrible things. But let's talk about that in a bit. Let's react to the first video.
When I eat in a day binge eating recovery on January 1st, 2024. Before I made breakfast, I just had this cake batter protein shake from Premier Protein. And then for breakfast, I had this like egg, bacon, potato, cheese, bell pepper, onion, little casserole thing. And it was so great because I had leftovers for like days. So yeah, I just had a couple slices of this. I had one slice.
As I was checking just now on Instagram, people are commenting, the shake is a meal replacement itself. So that shake is probably only probably less than 200 calories, and that's less than 200 calories is not a breakfast. It's probably not even a snack calories. Some people have this very distorted idea of you have to eat as low calories as possible, but in reality, you need more than that. There's another comment that says you don't need a protein shake, which is essentially just fat shaming. Because protein is not just for bodybuilders. Protein is not just for our muscles. We need protein for our nails, hair, skin. Our whole body is made out of protein. So everyone would benefit from a protein shake. And there's tons of studies online that show that, sure, in America, that people are overeating protein, but many people forget that it's better to have more protein than less protein. Because if you want to preserve muscle, I think, if I could remember, the risk of this thing called sarcopenia, which is the breakdown of muscle, I think it's if you're over 40 years old or over 50 years old, every single year you actually lose probably 2% of your muscle mass. So it's better to have more protein than less protein, unless you have an underlying chronic kidney condition or acute kidney condition. This is not medical advice, remember.
And an M&M yogurt, and then I went back for another slice because it was really good. I had that with water in my Stanley, and then it was time to make lunch. I made white rice with these little mini wonton dumpling things. I put way too many in the pan, and then they spilled out, but I put them back. And then I had leftover green beans on the side, and
those dumplings actually are really making me really hungry, because when I lived in the Philippines, these kinds of dumplings would be amazing. You'd have sticks with them, then you dip them into the soy sauce, which she's having right now. But in the Philippines, they'd have soy sauce mixed with a little bit of chili oil and chili flakes and some what's called calamansi, which is a green lemon, and that would be the most amazing thing with rice. So this meal is reminding me of the good old times when I was in the Philippines. And there's a good amount of protein, a decent amount of protein in there. Not high in protein, but she had a protein shake in the morning. There's veggies in there, and there's rice. And what you need to remember with binge eating recovery is not about avoiding foods. Essentially, you just have to eat regular meals. And it might sound simple, eating regular meals, but after a binge eating episode, your first, let's say you've eaten 3,000 calories in that binge, your first response, your automatic response, is to jump onto a diet, skip breakfast, skip lunch, and then that's going to trigger your body to increase its hunger hormones, increase your cravings, and then you're going to have another binge. There's this never-ending cycle of this thing called the binge-restrict cycle, where you binge eat, and then you feel guilty, and then jump onto a diet, binge eat, feel guilty, jump onto a diet, which is why people even gain weight with binge eating and have some form of emotional instability, because you're using food as a coping mechanism. So it sounds really simple, eating regular meals, eating the foods you crave, but you're trying to dull down those urges, because binge eating is not the problem. Binge eating is a symptom of deprivation, and it's your body's way of telling you, okay, we need some food as much as possible. So binge eating recovery, eating regular meals, is telling your body, okay, food is here, you don't have to worry, there's no famine going on, food is available. And at the risk of, if you're sharing this online, there's a risk of course, people not really understanding binge eating recovery and saying you need to eat less and lose weight, which is which is not the true understanding of binge eating disorder or binge eating recovery. So let's continue.
This was so good, and 7-Up, like a mini can of 7-Up. And then I went to the gym with Amanda and worked out, and then it was super late, so while I was at the gym, I ordered this for delivery. So I got a crispy chicken wrap with lettuce, tomato, honey mustard. I took most of the tomato off because I don't even like tomato, but I try to like experiment with things. And then I got coleslaw on the side, but it really wasn't that good. So yeah, this was the aftermath.
So I'm just checking the comments right now. People are saying, let's see, this is not an eating disorder, it's laziness, weakness, and lack of discipline and self-love. You can do better, start today. So that's actually a myth. So binge eating is not due to laziness, willpower, or any sort of thing like motivation problems. When you have binge eating disorder, it's a diagnosed mental health condition. It's in the DSM-5, which is the Handbook of Mental Health Conditions. You actually have physiological changes in your brain. And when you're struggling with binge eating disorder, your body is shouting out, I need food, and then you have a binge eating episode. So I like to think of this analogy of, let's say, if you need to use a toilet, and then you try to avoid using the toilet for so long, you're gonna wet yourself. If you're freezing cold, you'll start to shiver. If you try to avoid food as much as possible, go into an extreme diet, avoid certain food groups, under-eat calories, then your body's going to binge eat. So binge eating recovery is about telling your body food is available. It's a diagnosed mental health condition. It's not laziness. Okay, so this is a really terrible comment. You'd be better off taking up smoking and cocaine at this rate. So this probably comes from the idea that like junk foods, people call, is as bad as smoking and drugs, when in reality, food is just food. We can't associate smoking and cocaine with these kinds of things. She's going through eating disorder recovery, and for other people to just literally roast her. This is why we need more education with binge eating recovery, because binge eating disorder is the most common eating disorder in the world. But many people say like, oh, you're lazy, you have no discipline, you have to work harder, you need to lose weight, which is the opposite of what you need to do, which is why so many people try to not talk about binge eating disorder, because there's so much stigma and shame around it. Studies show if you combine all the people in the world who struggle with anorexia and bulimia, if you combine them, it's not even enough to match the number of people who are struggling with binge eating disorder. So let's jump to the next video.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Oscar. Oh, stop it. You're gonna make me cry. You're so cute. I love you.
I told you to make you feel better.
Oh, I've never gotten balloons like for anybody.
150k followers. She's been doing really well. You know what they say, any publicity is good publicity. So even if she might have like lots of haters, it's getting people to get some attention for her. And there's also as well, like in the comments, some loving comments, some supportive comments. So remember, any attention is good attention.
My hair and makeup.
I've had kind of a rough day and a pretty triggering day for me, so this is how I normally cope. We're trying to challenge those thoughts and behaviors. We're gonna turn this day around, because just because you made a mistake or had a bad moment doesn't mean it has to be a bad day and a bad night. I feel like when you challenge the thoughts and are like, no, it doesn't have to be like this, like you don't have to make this a bad day, it was just a bad moment, I feel like that has been really huge for me.
I think she probably has been working with a therapist. I haven't really looked into Kelsey's journey. Oh, that's her Instagram name, by the way. But like that's actually a mindfulness tip, a coping mechanism, to think that it's actually not one moment that's bad doesn't equal a bad day, and trying to be mindful of your urges to binge eat. Let's see what's going on.
Sick and feel really disgusting about myself. We can always flip things around, so now it's going to be a learning lesson. So now we're going to give 2 of these to Frankie and Amanda. I'll save 1 for breakfast tomorrow, and then maybe I'll save some of this for dinner. I feel like days like these also make me feel so powerful, because it's like I thought that I threw the day away, and I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, I can still save it, and that's like such a huge win for me. I'm about to go to Amanda's to get ready, but I want to get dressed first, so.
This is really good. So if you struggle with binge eating, here Kelsey just had a binge and she turned it around. So even if you have a binge, it doesn't mean you failed. You can use it as a learning opportunity. You can even like break your way out of the binge, midway binge, by just trying to be mindful, just trying to recognize, okay, I'm binge eating, and that can be already a win. Just trying to be mindful, because with binge eating, you're often like eating mindlessly, which is not being mindful. You don't understand why you're binge eating. You're just feeling like you're on autopilot. You're being possessed and then just watching yourself eat the food. But understanding before, during, and after binge that we should not have any like judgment with ourselves. And a really good thing is just to share the food post-binge with other people. That's a really, really good, helpful skill. And it fosters some self-esteem, like self-love. And it's kind of a really kind thing to do. So that's a really good thing to do. I'm really, really proud of her, actually. She's definitely been working with someone. If not, then wow, she's been really supported really well.
I'm about to go to Amanda's to get ready, but I want to get dressed first, so we're gonna try this. I hope it fits because it's just so stunning and it like matches the balloons and I think it would be a vibe, so let's see. She's sparkling.
Okay, so I don't know what I just saw, but that was a really, really interesting lift or elevator if you live in the US. It was really, really massive. We don't have those size of lifts here in the UK. It's probably like half the size. Definitely not big enough to store like 3 or 4 giant balloons.
When I eat in a day in binge eating recovery, so for breakfast I had 2 mini blueberry muffins, and egg in a cup, and water in my Stanley. I had an orange, and then it was time to make lunch, so I made these like breaded chicken.
So quickly going to breakfast, because she glazed over it really quickly. That's actually a really good breakfast for someone who's recovering from binge eating disorder or binge eating, because it has the protein, it has the carbs, and although the carbs are not like breaded whole grain or quinoa or oatmeal, it's muffins. It's probably your trigger food, but it's a good way of trying to introduce food neutrality, trying to introduce your trigger foods, which you normally binge on, or like bad foods people would call, regularly throughout the day. Because if you're dipping little bits of your binge foods throughout the day, like having a little bit here for breakfast, a little bit for snack, a little bit for lunch, a little bit through dinner, then it removes this novelty of this thing called a forbidden food. It's only called a forbidden food because you try to avoid it as much as possible, but if you have it regularly, then you're getting the satisfaction already throughout the day. You're being full and satisfied. The protein is keeping you full, and the muffins and the oranges are keeping you satisfied because they're nice and sweet. And the things that increase your urges to binge eat are when you're not full and not satisfied. But if you're being full and satisfied throughout the day, then there's no reason for your body to trigger a binge eating episode, which is really, really smart and really good of her to do.
Tenders, and then I had leftover green beans and macaroni and cheese from the day before. This was really good, and this was like a new way that I made chicken, and I really liked it, so I think I'll make it.
Macaroni, cheese, chicken, green beans. This is like the meta version of the bro meal instead of chicken, broccoli, and rice. Because actually, like macaroni and cheese, that actually has more protein than your simple chicken, broccoli, and rice. Macaroni, cheese, chicken. I'm just talking out loud because this seems like something I would do. Quite delicious, full and satisfying. There's proteins, fats, and carbs, and a bit of fiber there in the green beans. Really, really good. Being full and satisfied. Always remember that.
Again in the future. Amanda wanted to go food shopping, but somehow we ended up at TJ Maxx.
Bustling her baby in.
Then we went food shopping, and I came home, and Amanda invited me over for dinner, so she made this like rigatoni alla vodka. It was so freaking good with like pancetta, and then we had a salad on the side, and yeah, this was so good, and Amanda's a great chef. And then we had our little family dinner, and it was so cute. That's what I ate today, and this is my last what I ate in a day of 2023.
Okay, so let's check the comments. So, quit drinking soda. Every time I see these, you're always drinking soda, and you eat so many carbs, you're never going to see a change if you don't actually hold yourself accountable. If anything, she is actually holding herself accountable. She's actually filming this in public and just releasing it out for the whole world to see. So it's not about like quit drinking soda, quit this, quit this. Binge eating recovery is eating the things that you're fearing of. I don't know if she actually checks the comments here, but I hope she doesn't feel down because of the comments, because there's it seems like there's a 50-50 split between supportive and not so supportive comments. There isn't much point of doing a 45-minute workout, only to go home and have frozen meal. Cancels your calorie deficit in about 5 seconds. Whatever you've burned, you put straight back into your body with interest. Each to their own, I guess. So people are not going to like this, but going to the gym only to burn your calories off, or like trying to make up for what you've eaten, like let's say you've eaten a Snickers bar or a Mars bar, and then okay, I'm gonna go to the treadmill for like maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, just to burn that off. That's actually a very disordered mindset of dealing with food, because that's a form of compensating, a form of purging. It's very similar to like simply just vomiting the food out or something. It is a form of purging, and actually studies show that our body's really good at storing or conserving energy. We actually use most of our calories, our maintenance calories, through our organs, like our heart pumping, our liver being put to work, our brain using so much energy. There's this thing called the total daily energy expenditure, and only 10% we use up our total daily energy or total calories through physical exercise, only 10%. And we even like simply eating the food, when you eat food, we actually like use energy to actually like break it down. That actually uses more calories than simply like going to the gym for maybe like, 5% of the day, and simply just going on a treadmill. And if you check the research, simply going to the gym to burn out your calories through cardio is a very poor way of being in a calorie deficit. Exercise simply has no benefit to burning calories. Like there's no point of going to the gym just to burn off calories. But still, that means you should still go to the gym to get stronger, improve your cardio, and many other things. But if it comes to weight loss, exercise is a very poor way of trying to lose weight.
What I eat in a day on a rough day in binge eating recovery. For breakfast, I had a bacon, egg, and cheese on a croissant and roasted potatoes and a side order of French toast bites and orange juice. I didn't eat breakfast till like 3 p.m. so I was like so hungry at this point. I ate all of that and then I was really stuffed and didn't eat again till like after 10, and then I ordered food, and this is the aftermath. I think where I went.
I'm just checking the comments right now. Someone said, okay, a side order of French toast in the morning. Girl, this isn't recovery. Well, I just want to say, once again, that recovery isn't about trying to avoid foods. It's about like exposure therapy. Binge eating recovery is about exposure therapy. You have to eat the foods. You have to unlearn the habits of trying to see food as bad. And to do this, to remove any food morality, good foods, bad foods, you just simply have to eat them throughout the day. When you eat whatever kinds of foods, muffins in the morning, the thing is, binge eating recovery is all about exposure therapy. You have to eat the foods which you have in your mind call good or bad. You have to transform them into neutral foods. And to do this, you simply have to eat whatever foods regularly throughout the day, within trying to make your meals balanced with protein, fats, carbs, and fiber. And it's a very difficult thing mentally to go against what your natural urge is trying to tell you to do, such as jump onto a diet. Because when you're trying to include foods regularly throughout the day, then you're transforming them into neutral foods. So for example, if my foods which I consider bad are cookies, they're only going to stay bad if I try to avoid them as much as possible. But if I'm having them as a normal dessert, like I just simply have them whenever I want, and I'm eating regular meals which keep me full and satisfied, then it's not going to be a bad food, because by definition, it's not bad if I'm having it regularly. If you have this mindset of calling foods good and bad, sinful, angelic, clean, dirty, junk, and whatever, all that not, then it's going to make our self-esteem very fragile. So, long story short, recovery, binge eating recovery, is about exposure therapy. And we don't know how difficult it is mentally for Kelsey in these videos, but I can probably imagine it must be so difficult to go through this, and she's doing the world amazing favor by trying to go through binge eating recovery. It's not easy.
What went wrong today was waiting too long to eat. That's a common problem I have. And then also just like the ordering takeout can be triggering, especially when I'm like so hungry because I just want to order everything. I also want to make it clear, some people say I'm like promoting obesity or like promoting this way of eating when I post these. I do not want anyone to follow this diet. I believe that everyone deserves representation, and that's why I post these.
That's amazing that she's saying this. Just because you see something on social media doesn't mean it should be the diet that you follow. This is her recovery diet. Your diet might not be recovery. You don't even need to be in recovery if you don't struggle with any issues with your food. So you don't have to actually follow these diets. She's not promoting anything. She never even mentioned anything in any of her videos saying you should eat this. I'm checking the comments again, and they're saying calories consumed 4,800, calories burned 6. The interesting thing is here in the comments, it really brings out the people who really struggle with their relationship with food, because some people think the point of food or the point of their life is to burn calories and eat as little calories as possible. Consume as little, burn as much as possible. Imagine like living your life like that, and then let's say you pass away. Would your grave say, "Oh, Jonathan, he passed away, but we remember him for all the calories he hasn't eaten, or the food he's avoided, or he's lost this much weight. Let's remember him for that." Simply, Kelsey in this video is simply just enjoying life. Like certain foods, we can learn externally with external knowledge that certain foods can be higher in sugar, highly palatable, but there's so much nuance. If you're in an eating recovery journey, if you're struggling with binge eating disorder, recovery is about eating these kinds of foods. You have to expose yourself to these. This is going to cause lots of controversy on social media, but like I said before, like any attention is good attention.
Promoting it, it's not saying it's good. It's actually saying it's bad. I don't promote this, but I love you guys so much. Bye.
So all in all, I just want to say, first of all, Kelsey, if you're watching this video, I just want to say, keep on doing what you're doing. You're doing amazing things for the binge eating recovery journey. Binge eating disorder, or binge eating on its own, just simply the habit of binge eating, is one of the most misunderstood conditions in the world. People think it's all about like willpower, it's all about grit. You have to use motivation. You have to David Goggins your style out of this binge eating recovery, this binge eating urge. But it's not about that. Like, it's about exposure therapy. So thank you for like raising awareness of what binge eating recovery looks like. I love it when people do these what I eat in a day videos of binge eating recovery, because raising awareness is the first step to healing people's relationship with food. And whether you get good comments or not so good comments, you are raising awareness still. Those people who are not giving good comments, they probably might be sharing with their friends, "Hey, look at this lady, she's eating this. And maybe the person listening to that will be like, "Oh, actually I struggle with binge eating. Maybe I should follow this kind of diet." What you're doing here is amazing, and I think you deserve tons more followers. I'm following you right now, and you have 182,000 followers. I think you deserve 10 million followers, Kelsey, if you're listening to this. So remember, if you get anything from this video and you're new to this channel, my name is Jonathan. I'm a dietitian that supports people who are struggling with binge eating, and I highly recommend following Kelsey, and I'm going to be linking her in the description of this video. But as well, if you really struggle with binge eating and you don't know where to start, then check the link in the description for my free hour-long binge eating masterclass, where I teach you the 3 main binge triggers, which is the physical restriction, mental restriction, all or nothing mindset, and all those kinds of things. And I have free ebooks on how to like help re-regulate your hunger cues, aka escape this binge restrict cycle. Check that in the link in the description. So make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. Was this video quite surprising? Like, did you know already that binge eating recovery was about exposure therapy? Or were your eyes opened that binge eating recovery is simply about exposure therapy? Check my other videos out, and I'll see you in the next video. Let me know in the comments who else you want me to react to, because I'm really enjoying these reactions, and I hope you're enjoying them as well.